Hello.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Am I audible? Can someone message on the chat? Can you hear me? If yes, can you message in the group on the chat? Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jobin and Professor Vignesh. So, welcome to our third day faculty development program. We had two wonderful sessions in the past, and we are stepping to the next interesting session, something that often we discuss in the faculty room, in the staff room. Um, I take a lot of practical sessions, and uh, my colleagues who take theory courses often come and discuss with me like students are too much into practical courses and they are not interested in engaging in theory courses, and we used to have a lot of discussion on that. So I think it is very relevant when we are talking about pedagogy for media studies and teaching methods and teaching approaches, various approaches. We need to address you know this particular scenario, especially in media studies department, where there are a lot of practical courses and some theoretical courses, and students tend to lean towards the practicality of the program. And we have a very relevant speaker today to discuss about it. And I you know uh, give the space to Professor Madarasi to introduce our speaker for the day. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everyone. Today's speaker, Mr. Fan Moses E, is an experienced professor specializing in visual communication and animation, with extensive expertise in developing and applying innovative approaches to visual media. His career spans years of experience in the animation industry, where he worked on a range of projects, particularly as an instructional designer, creating visually engaging content that simplifies complex ideas and concepts. Penn's area of specializing lies at the intersection of culture studies, film studies, and human communication, giving him a holistic understanding of how visual media influences and reflects social trends, narratives, and communication patterns. His background in culture studies allows him to approach visual design with a critical understanding of how culture shapes and shaped by visual media, ensuring that his content remains culturally sensitive and resonant. In film studies, Fenn's deep knowledge of cinematic techniques such as visual composition, storytelling, and emotional engagement enhances his teaching and professional work in animation. He draws upon the storytelling power of film to elevate animation projects using filmic techniques to grab visuals that not only entertain but also evoke meaning and emotion. Fenn's expertise in human communications informs his approach to creating visuals that communicate effectively across different mediums and platforms. He focuses on how audiences perceive, interpret, and engage with visual content, ensuring that the designs he creates and teaches are clear, impactful, and persuasive. As a professor, Fen Moses E is dedicated and advancing the fields of visual communication and animation, guiding students to master both the technical skills and theoretical foundations for the past 8 years. His interdisciplinary approach equips students to excel in the rapidly changing digital and media landscapes, preparing them for diverse roles in visual content creation, animation, and beyond. So, cordially we welcome Fen Moses, and it's your time. Take a platform and continue your sessions. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. That was gracious. I should thank the head of the department and the principal of the college for giving me such an opportunity to talk to such light minds and like minds. Thank you so much. Um, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. Good. Um, Today's topic is it's quite an intriguing topic. It's pertained to the terms of this age. Um, um, why do we have to think about theories when there are so much of practical works going on in the department? We as media students or media professionals think about more in terms of practical work than theoretically framing any of these contents. That was quite an interesting topic. So, before I delve deep inside this topic, I'd like to think about the basics of the basics. What in actuality is an education, and why do we need education? In previous times and even in current times, we are made to believe, or we certainly believe, that this education is a tool or a key for a greater or a better future or a better foundation in life. We believe that we all have to have the right to education. We believe that we need to have education to have a better future. A future is paradoxical, and most of the terms that we study or learn, we profess, are paradoxical. We don't have an actual say to what in actuality are we trying to profess. No, we don't have it. But then we teach students about the values of great education and the values of great minds that have walked on this earth. On that pretext, I tried to understand what the concept of education is. And education, defined by Aristotle, the man himself, he says that education is the process of training man to fulfill his aim by exercising all the faculties to the fullest extent as a member of society. Right? Those are great terms. When I say great terms, it's like he talks in a collective term. He says, exercising all the faculties to the fullest extent as a member of a society, which means nobody is an individual. We are all collective people. We are social being, and we have to remain social to enhance and sustain each other to develop the society. All right. Speaking of such, uh, so we understand that education is important, but why is it so important? And what in actuality is happening here? We say you have to get this education to have a greater future. But when we look around people, there are people with a greater understanding than those people who have been to greater universities, which is in actuality, which is in actuality. That is to be true. All right. Now, we believe in a setup as in a classroom that practically understanding the theoretical concepts is much more edible. Um, that's in That's true. That's true to a certain extent. Today, we find students um, more interested in practical works, more enthusiastic in practical works, more defined in practical works, and um, they love to do practical works, and especially when it comes to visual communication and journalism. They love to take their cameras, they love to take their laptops, and they love to write, they love to click photographs, they love to define what they understand. um, but the underlying question is, do we really understand what we do? That's the underlying question. um, Practical work and theoretical work go side by side. And if they don't go side by side, and if they don't complement each other, then it's a disaster. I understand that that's a huge term to be used, but uh, there are a few things that we practice in classrooms. One of the things that we practice in classrooms is the ability to share ideas. Is that we encourage students to pitch in their ideas. We encourage students to share their minds once a theoretical concept is being explained. And also, once we explain a theoretical concept, we make sure that the students put them into practice to understand that to a greater context. All right. When it comes to photographies and when it comes to videographies, um, students believe that it's natural. People, students believe that it's quite an easier task that to sit and go through books after books to read theoretical concepts. What we actually do in classroom is to define their work. We want people to understand that what they do has a greater impact than they actually perceive. We had a paper called Introduction to Human Communication, which is for the first years undergraduate students. I believe everyone under the Madras University syllabus may know this paper. It's theoretical paper, but we believed a mere theory alone does not uh, do justice to this paper. We started explaining the theories. We started with the Shannon and Weaver, and we went on to the various theoretical concepts. Um, and then we gave the cameras to the students. And he said, go walk around the campus, meet people of different ages, and meet people of different genres. When I say genres, you can meet the professors, or you can meet the janitors, you can meet the watchmen, anyone in your vicinity. Just go around, talk to the people, and make sure um, you build a communication. That building communication was vital. We said, do that. You have to do that. You have to go meet people and get their stories. The first day, the students they walk out, they talk to people, they get random stories, they just comment. We said, good, very good. You've done a great job. We're really happy. They said, so how's the work? And we said, yes, that's a beautiful work. All right. The next day, we started explaining the theory more deeper. We said, it's not just about the skin, scratch deep inside the skin. And we said, we sent them out. And then students started to ask questions that might be considered personal, and some even found it offensive. But we didn't care. The theory has to be put into practice. Am I audible? All right. The theory has to be put into practice. The students went again. They met people of different ages, different genres again. They started asking personal questions. And the stories that came out were amazing stories. Most of the stories were used um, in the classroom to be put across to the students, and they were used as study materials. And why did we actually do that? Because one of the story that came about was so crucial. We were astounded. we really astound when we heard that story. The story goes something like this, and this person, a lady, she was more like the head of the gods, and she stands there and assigning duties to various watchmen. And the student, she was one tough nut, a very tough person. You don't see her smiling at all. Never seen her smiling. But then once the students approached her, she was obviously she had a stern face, and she said, I don't have time. And students insisted that we are doing some classwork and we would be really glad to have you in our project. And she said, all right, I'll just give you 2 minutes time. And once students started shooting personal questions, she wasn't very comfortable. The students weren't comfortable either. But then the show has to go on. They kept persisting. The persistence, persistence, persistence. And then came out the personal story. And she said, do you know who I am? And students said, no, we don't. I'm a gold medalist. And the students asked, gold medalist in what? I'm a gold medalist in computer science in my university. She comes down from the south. And the students were like, computer science and like actual computer science? And they were like, yes, actual computer science. All right. And do you know what? I'm a black belt in karate. And they were like, okay. And the next question was, what are you doing here? Why didn't you apply to one of the teaching posts or the office post? And she said, I had a difficult time with my family, and I have to leave my family, get out of my house, find my own place, fend for my own self, feed my children, have to live my life. And that was the answer. And after that particular incident, the students came to the classroom with a very sulky face. And I asked them what happened. And they said, sir, this is the story. And I saw the story and I thought, all right, all right. We took the story to the management. We showed it to them. And she said, see, we have a person in our midst who is a gold medalist, and she is doing the regulatory job as a watchman. What is happening? The management took notice of it, and there was quite a change. And why am I narrating this story at this juncture, where the topic goes the importance of studying theories amidst practical courses? All right. So once you start using these practical modules more often and forget the theoretical background, you often tend to go this meaningless. That's a big statement to make. But then in most cases, we often go meaningless. We don't know where we are shooting at, and we don't know what we are shooting at. If and at all, we teach the students the basic of the theories and the basic of the meanings and the basic of the foundation, we have we are in a crime of creating a meaningless sharpshooters. That's what the foundation of this talk would be. All right. Um, how do you actually propose to introduce theories amidst all these practical courses? I have few videos to share in these lines, and just a minute. Can you can you share?
This is the real life of Japan's lower class. With no money, at 40 years old, he is still unmarried. He can only spend every day drinking and playing games in his rental apartment. Do you know how wasted his day is? At 7:30 p.m., 40-year-old Jiro
what we are actually playing here is the video of people, homeless people, from three different countries. One is from Japan, one is from India, and one is from United States. Um, Two countries are considered as the first world, the wealthiest of the nations, and we are from the third world. Unfortunately, we have to consider ourselves as third world yet. But three of the same concept, similar concept, which talks about homeless people. But I would like to watch the approach that it has.
Just finishes work and returns home. Since today is payday, the first thing Jiro does when he gets home is to count his cash. Jiro is currently a temporary worker at a factory. His monthly salary is only $1,500, which classifies him as low income in Japan. He can barely survive on this, so there is no extra money for marriage. Since dropping out of high school and moving to Tokyo for work, his low education level has led him to try many industries. Not only is the income very low, but the work is also exhausting. After paying rent and utilities each month, the remaining money is just enough for food, leaving no extra for dating. After finishing dinner, Jiro cleans the dishes, then brews a pot of tea. He heads to the living room to eat snacks and play video games. This is the real life of Japan's.
The next one is from India.
Jobless and homeless. 14 Indian workers have been sleeping rough in Dubai Satwa Park and begging for food and clothes. With no roof over their heads after they became jobless for various reasons, these workers are now spending their days and nights in the small park next to the Satwa bus station and the nearby areas. Some of them told Gulf News that they've made the park their home for several months now. Only a few people in the neighborhood have come forward to give them food and help them take showers occasionally. The laborers said there have been several days they went on empty stomach and did not get to wash themselves as they only have access to the toilets in the bus station. When contacted by Gulf News, the Indian consulate in Dubai offered to support the workers. Officials visited them at the park and collected their details to process their emergency exit papers. The mission has promised to offer them financial assistance as well. Sajila Shashindran for Gulf News.
The sleep company.
Name, bro?
Angel?
Angel. What about you?
Viviana.
Viviana. Are you guys a couple?
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you guys been together?
Oh, it's been a minute, to be honest.
2 years and 7 months.
2 years. And you guys homeless?
Yes.
How long have you guys been homeless?
It's been, well, a big ass minute, to be honest. It's been a struggle, but getting through it together, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's been.
How old are you, bro?
I'm actually 19. I just turned 19, the 8th.
19.
Yeah.
And what about your girl?
I'm also 19.
19.
Yeah.
And you guys been homeless for 2 years already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you guys were 17?
Yeah.
How did that happen, bro?
To be honest, bro, we were working at first, bro. We had good ass jobs. My girl used to work right here at Sonic, right here. And then I used to work at Amazon down here by Laura Buckeye and shit. But I got fired. It's because I tried to take a couple days off because I was working from 3 from 3 in the morning to 5 at night, and I just tried to take a couple days off because I was working 24/7 and I was getting really tired. You know, when you work all night 24/7, it's a struggle. You know, you get really exhausted and tired, and it just sucks because I just tried to take like 2-3 days off, and they just let me go. They're like, you can't take that much days off, I guess. So they just let me go, and from there, my mom moved to Mexico, and we just been on here since then.
And when you guys were working, you guys were living with your mom, right?
Yeah, we were living with his mom, but when she moved to Mexico because her boyfriend got deported,
Yeah.
and when he got deported, she left with him,
Yeah.
and we had nowhere else to go because she left with him to Mexico. And we built
All right, what we just witnessed is a similar stories from three different countries by similar professionals. And I said similar professionals, all these people, they are either directly or indirectly connected with the media. Um, there's one highly influential person that I actually connect with. His name is Marshall McLuhan. He is one of uh, there may be many cultural theorists, but maybe like Stuart Hall. But one of the best things that hooked me up to culture studies is the statement that was made by Marshall McLuhan when he said, "This medium takes us to a different set of awareness." When he referred, it was sort of a television medium. We have spread across to a wide range of mediums right now. But when he started, it was with the television medium and the print medium and the radio medium. He said, what actually happens when you expose a set of content to people? And he said in one statement, it raises them to a different set of awareness. That was a mind-boggling statement and quite paradoxical. And he also said the medium in itself is a message. Um, where once a student came up to me and said, um, "So after this conversation, I want you to DM me um, any thoughts that you have or anything that you have. Just DM me." And I said, "All right, I'll do that. That sounds like a very good idea." And then once she left, I had to Google what DM was. I wasn't raised to that level of awareness, and but once I was exposed to that word DM, there was that's lingual right now. But I had to wait and Google to understand what DM was, and then realize that I was raised to a different set of awareness. Then I started to understand that exposure to students is quite vital to help them understand or raise them to a different set of awareness. And once I started to play all these kind of videos and content to the students, it becomes more meaningful. Students, they are more keen to be part of this society. As Aristotle mentioned, they are the member of the society. They have to be raised to that set of awareness. They have to be raised to a set of awareness where they involve themselves to be part of this society. And how does that happen? They have to be theoretically exposed to help them understand what they actually see. And in this case, we can actually involve the Maslow's hierarchical needs. Maslow actually says that our need actually starts with a physiological condition. Once you say physiological, it's the basic needs of the basic needs is the water, food, and the shelter. And most of the students have been exposed to a certain degree of understanding that they have to work in order to earn, and in order to earn to support themselves with the water and the food and the shelter. And it has become so paradoxical that their mere existence is to work, to eat, to live, and protect themselves. But they have to be raised from that set of awareness to a very different set of awareness to say that their ideas or their existence is more than existing. And then According to the Maslow's hierarchical needs, once the physiological needs are met, then they travel to the safety needs, which includes protecting everything that they have acquired. And once that safety need is met, they travel to the social needs. And there, the social needs become a more relaxed set of atmosphere. They have now they have the courage to form friendships and also to find an intimate partner. And once that is achieved, they believe they have the right to travel to the next realm of esteem, where they demand respect, or they worry about their dignity, or they think about what they could probably achieve next. And then comes the last level of self actualization, where which is actually what we are talking right now. Once they reach this level of self actualization, then they start to realize why and what and how they could perform anything. They take a picture, then they start to understand what impact that this picture could make. And once they take a video, they understand what impact that this video could make, or how much effect that this video or this picture could make on the society that they are living in. And once we start traveling through the Maslow's hierarchical needs, we believe or we understand that nothing that they do is meaningless. We are beings. We believe that we are in the higher part of the food chain, and the one of the reasons that we believe that we exist there is that we try to understand anything and everything that is around us. We are not satisfied with the earth or the water or the air that we breathe. We want to dwell right into the cosmos. We try to understand why there exists a cosmos, or what could possibly be there in the cosmos. We need to find meaning for everything, meaning and meaning and meaning and meaning and meaning. And once and until we find meaning for everything that we need, we are as users are not gratified. If we apply the theory of users and gratification theory, we come to understand that we often get inside this device more or um, uh, devour content to an extent where we cannot resist stopping at all. It has to be a continuous process, day in and day out. We continuously take in the amount of information that we take in day in and day out is enormous. We have to understand, and we believe that there is no time to chew the content and get the juice out of it. We don't have enough time. We have become intellectually obese. And how does theory come into play? Theory is like, we all understand as professionals that we need a framework where we can fit in all these content to make sense out of it. And once we start putting these sense into the students, and everything and anything else that they create or they watch or they produce become more meaningful, and it's more helpful to people around. We find educational videos on YouTube. We find educational content on Instagram, pages in Facebook, any pages at all, like Khan's Academy, or we try to go Google out to listen to intellectual talks, or like TED Talks, or we find people like Jordan Peterson. Um, we try to find meaning out of everything, anything and everything. Um, I think I should get on to a conclusion part where um, students are beautiful people, very beautiful people. They love to work. They find pleasure in working. And when you realize that that pleasure that they have in working go meaningless, they shoot or at different perspective, at different rates. then you realize that they have to be channelized to make them a valuable contributor to the society. um, all these valuable contribution actually builds the nation as such. We have two different set of ideas, one from the West and one from the communist. The West says that all these produce that we have, all these marketing that we do are to enrich the life of individuals in the society. And the communists, they begin saying that the West have manipulated the mind of the individuals. The West have literally put people into a cage. The animals are no more in the cage, but the people on the cage, their mind is caged. They cannot stop but devour the things that are around them. They have become meaningless. That's what the communists have put across. They see everything on the media, and they study in a way, in a theoretical, they put that in a theoretical framework and say the people have lost their way of life. They have no more meaning in life. And yet you find people in the West saying we are trying to be more friendly, we are trying to be peaceful people, we are trying, we are trying, we are trying, and we are trying, we are trying. Now one of the biggest things that we don't actually believe, it's not actually about believing, it's about we don't dare to touch a few topics, which we actually discussed in class. It's about feminism. We believe in feminism, we believe in the freedom of women, we believe. And if I could raise you to a different sort of awareness, like like Marshall McLuhan said, are the women in the past caged, or are the women right now caged? It's a very, very crucial question. The answers that we got from the students were astounding. We never actually expected these kids to come up with such answers, but we did get these answers from the students saying that we are right now not free at all. We asked a question: are you a free woman? Are you in a position to take a decision on your own? And there's one of the students raised up and said, no, sir, we are not. No, 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 we are not. She said, we are not. And I asked her, why? What happened? See, now you are sitting par equal in the classrooms. Um, you don't have any restrictions. You are free to choose your classes. You're free to um, take your decisions. And she said, no, sir, that's not the point. That's not the point. And the best example, she said, I'm not able to get out of this uh, ideas that goes around in my mind saying I have to be this and I have to be that to be someone. That was not quite which I was expecting from a college team. But we had to stop that topic for various reasons. But the question put across to all these bright minds and the intellectuals here is that theories are quite important, and practical classes is also important. I'd like to stop here, but with an end note saying we are on the verge of transition. If I put it right, we are literally transcending right now. We know that the age of AI, which was once in the sci-fi films, are no more a sci-fi film, but we are literally inside the AI web. Um, and it's in the best interest that we have to teach the kids the right framework to understand what they are seeing, to understand what they're listening, that they may have a meaningful life. That's the best thing that we could possibly do. Theoretical framework, they might keep changing or they might stay in history, but the human beings, they keep traveling. they seek for different understandings. There are times when we travel to different temples and we watch different statues and we try to decipher the meaning of those statues. And unless and until someone walks by and says, this represents this represents this represents this, the entire statue is lost into the history. The same way, we are in the verge of losing an entire set of minds into the waves of time. If I'm quite right, we have literally traveled on to the next wave. Um, but what could we possibly expect from the students, or what could we possibly share to the students, is up to the understanding that we have about the world that we live in. And for that, we need a theoretical framework. We need to have an understanding. It might be so philosophical, but yet that is profoundly true. That's what I believe. And with that, I would like to end this talk, and I invite anyone on the panel to uh, have your questions posted. So,
All right. Thank you so much. Uh, Very insightful. Um, lot of questions within me, and it'll be interesting if we can turn on our mic and have some discussion. Today we have a lot of time in our hand, so I invite the attendees. How what kind of challenges on a day-to-day basis you face in a theory course that you teach uh, currently or in the past. um, do you find any difference in the practical? uh, am I audible? Am I clear? Is my voice clear? Is there any technical issue? I think there is some echo, right? If my voice is not clear, kindly let me know. So can we have some participants? Thank you. Can we have some participants who can share your experience in terms of what kind of challenges that you faced in a theory lecture, and when you compare with the practical papers that you teach, and something that I want to pick from today's you know uh, session, that is self actualization and pushing students to that Marshall McLuhan's hierarchy of need, where the self actualization will lead to the search or the thirst for meaning in everything, and meaning via theories. That is very interesting, that is very fascinating. Here we have two questions. Mr. Bhaskar asked, does the self actualization pave a path for students to search for meanings via theories? How can we apply this in our daily reality of lecture room?
all right, that's a very beautiful question, and it's quite profound. Um, Self-actualization, you can't teach anything without self-actualization, literally, in literal sense. See, to put that into a very basic term, we have one syllabus across. It's like an umbrella term, one syllabus across the entire state or the entire country. One syllabus to learn, but we have different sets of minds traveling through that syllabus and taking that syllabus to the younger minds. uh, if that person hasn't actually realized what he is teaching, if that person hasn't realized what that teaching would expound, or that teaching would impact into that mind of the student, then the entire syllabus is lost. The complete it's a complete disaster. If that self-actualization doesn't happen, we haven't taught at all. See, there's one basic thing that I always teach to the students. If your life and that which you study doesn't incorporate together, if that doesn't come together, lay one on top of another, then we haven't studied at all. Anything and everything that you hear from the mouth of the lecturer has to be applied into your life. If that does not happen, then we have not studied at all. Let's say a principle from a physics, physics principle. If you start to think that that principle doesn't exist in the reality of your life, then you haven't studied at all, which means that you have not got that principle into the visualized part of your brain. If you haven't visualized, then it's lost. It's a vapor, which means self actualization is the actual ground, is the actual seed. If there is no actualization, you got nothing. You're lost.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you know, I completely agree with you. And we have few interesting conversation happening on the chat. So, Professor Gayatri mentioned that students generally feel theory is not that important compared to practical. And Professor Mahalakshmi Selvaraj, second that thought. She mentioned that they give more importance to uh, theory subjects, and as a result, they don't consider theory. They don't give importance to theory subject, and as a result, they don't consider theories as important. They give more importance to practical subjects. And how do we take that? Generally, there is, so this is a challenge that I think across universities, across colleges, I think media and many other departments, programs face. Students consider um, theory as less important compared to practical subjects. And Professor Samantha has mentioned that practical teaching professors themselves see theory specialized professors as a low grade. That is really saddening, because if we don't understand the value of uh, the theoretical aspect of any industry, I think we are missing out on the major picture of our program. And she continued to say that students feel that theory can be learned by themselves and passed, while practical needs the subject teacher to be cleared in the exam. So, thank you so much for sharing these thoughts. I would like to hear from our speaker. What do you think about this? Like, how can we kind of like face this challenge? How can we, resolve this when students are, more, leaning towards practical papers because they think it is important, and it needs a subject teacher or an expert to learn. Whereas when it comes to theory subjects, the colleagues are looking down, looking them down upon, and even students think that, like, it can be just studied by themselves. So, your thoughts on it?
There are actually different perspectives that we can approach this thought. I believe, I certainly believe, and I profess that there are no greater things than life in itself. There is nothing more greater than life. I asked students this question: "How are you?" They said, "Ah, okay, sir. I'm just existing." I said, I'm so glad that you exist." Um, they said, "Sir, I didn't say I'm good. I said, I exist." I said, "All right, you exist. That's good. That's more than that." That's one perspective. The second perspective is, I like to travel through the eyes of Maslow himself. He states different levels of the needs of a human being. The one at the top is the self-actualization. That was a beautiful, profound question asked by the previous person. Once you believe, once you understand the importance of a theory, then I don't think nothing else does matter. See, practical work is it's see sometimes people work like a child working on a sand castle. A child believes that to be the castle. It creates a cone and then says, "See, that's a castle, and that's the king standing there." And then we start to give them a different set of awareness. We show them a picture of a castle and say, "See, this is an actual castle." And the child says, "I thought this is a castle," but I say, "No, see, this is a castle where the king lives." He or she has to be brought to a different set of awareness. And once we, in actual self actualization, have reason to that set of awareness, then I don't think nothing else matters. See, practical, we are not, one thing we have to understand, we are not producing, we are not factory workers. That's a huge word to put across. But I say we are not factory workers. We are not working in factories. We work in life of young minds. And once I say we work in the minds of young minds, we have to be really careful of what we profess and what we put across their minds. Their young minds, very fertile. And what we put as seed grows, and then that's exactly what we see in the society.
Right. Proceed, please.
Yeah. Previous week we had a discussion on LGBTQ. That was a strange topic to begin in a conservative place like ours. But then I said, "Is it okay for you students to discuss on LGBTQ?" And they said, "Like, sir, it's a very strange topic." And they said, but I said, "See, once you take out the newspapers, the crime across LGBTQ is increasing each day. Have you ever noticed?" And they said, like, "Sir, we don't." And then I said, like, start reading the newspapers, listen to the newses that come across, and you see all these news to this LGBTQ community has increased. They have increased. And what does that put across? And then I asked them, what do you understand from this? I said, "Sir, we don't know." They said, "We don't know. We don't know. We don't know." Then we started on the queer theories. Once they went through the queer theory, then they started to understand what was actually happening in the media. See, theories are more important to understand what is happening around us. Practical, I don't mean practical work can be done by anyone. No. A person with sound theory can produce a sound practical work. That's what I understand and I believe. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That is once again very insightful. I think something that really touches me right now is what you mentioned as we are not lecturers are not mere factory workers, and when we are talking about our own fellow colleagues are kind of looking down upon staff, professors, lecturers who are teaching theory subjects. I think we all need to go back to our departments and go back to our staff meeting and kind of revisit the importance of theoretical subjects. um, End of the day, we are not producing any just technicians for the industry. We are producing masterminds. We are producing theorists. We are producing sociologists. We are producing the brains behind the media, not just the hands or the technical experts behind the media. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I Is there any other queries? Please share it on the chat. If not, we'll proceed with our vote of thanks. Over to Professor Prakash. Before that, thank you so much for your feedbacks yesterday. Very positive response that we got. Professor Manjula has shared the feedback from today's session on the chat. Please click on the link and fill it before the day ends. Um, just a reminder, as it is mandatory, the participatory certificate will be provided based on your participation, your attendance on during the session on Google Meet, as well as uh, based on your response or just mere response on the Google form, right? So thank you so much. We very seriously take your feedback, and if there is anything that we need to improve, we will definitely we will work on it. Over to Professor Prakash.
On behalf of all participants, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Fenmosa sir for sharing your invaluable insights on engaging theoretical courses amidst practical models during today's faculty development program. Your expertise has inspired us to enhance our teaching practices, and we also appreciate the technical team, Mr. Haris, Bhaskar, and Mr. Abhishek, and all department staffs for ensuring the event run very smoothly, as well as all participants to their active involvement. Thank you all. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.